Hello and welcome to Westland Report. I'm Mayor Michael Londeau. Over the past 6 months, you've probably seen a great deal of new developments along the Ford Road corridor. I know we've had a lot of questions in my office, a lot of questions on social media about what some of these projects are. To join me in highlighting some of these new investments is our Chief Business Development Officer, Aubrey Mehrib. Welcome, Aubrey.
Well, thank you so much for having me today, Mayor.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming on. These new business developments contribute to an overall improvement in the quality of life for Westland residents. With increased job opportunities, enhanced services, and a vibrant commercial environment, residents have access to a wider range of choices and amenities, making the community a more desirable place to live, work, and play. The Ford-Newburgh area has really added some eye-catching projects with some beautiful buildings and very diverse investments in our city. Can you go through some of these investments in our community, Aubrey?
Absolutely. So probably the most notable and eye-catching one would be Tommy's Express Car Wash. They invested $6.5 million in their new state-of-the-art 5,448 square foot car wash. And it really is kind of unlike anything that you see along the Ford Road corridor, so it definitely stands out. Car washes, you don't typically think that they're very aesthetically pleasing, but this is modern, this is different, it's certainly eye-catching, and it really increases the traffic along that corridor, pulling people in, and then those people support the businesses around it. So it really was a great addition to our corridor there. Additionally, they've been very, very wonderful to work with. The owner, Aaron, has recently joined the DDA, and so he's going to be, really getting involved, and we love to see businesses that like to get involved with the community.
Yeah, they've been a great addition to our community. We're hearing a lot of great feedback from the residents that patronize Tommy's Car Wash. So they actually were my first official grand opening back in chilly January, but now that it's warmed up, one of my favorite locations that's up in these warm days is next door to Tommy's Car Wash. You want to talk a little bit about them?
Yes, very excitingly, we've welcomed Dairy Queen. They recently completed construction on a new 2,900 square foot DQ grill and chill. Mm-hmm. So formerly it was just a Dairy Queen, now it's a full service restaurant. They opened following an investment of $1.4 million back in March. And it's been pretty hot this week, so it might be a good time to grab some ice cream.
Yeah, so I know you and your team have been in there often. What's your favorite Dairy Queen treat?
I'm a big fan of the mint Oreo Blizzard. What about you?
I'm kind of steady Eddie with a chocolate milkshake or just a chocolate cone, maybe with sprinkles or something. So make sure to go out and check them out, definitely in these hot summer months. So getting a lot of questions about what's going on next to Dairy Queen. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So that is Common Citizen. It's Westland's first cannabis provisioning center. They're investing $1.7 million in their brand new 5,747 square foot building, and they're doing a lot of site improvements. It's really great to see. It was a former strip center with a couple different tenants in there, and they've completely raised that and are really building an incredible modern state-of-the-art building that really just elevates the level of expectation that you want to see along the Ford Road corridor.
Yeah, I mean, that whole area, when I first was on the DDA back years ago, back in 2016, 2015, it was vacant. It was the old Feaster's property, extended into, like you said, the old strip mall. So it's really been a catalyst of redevelopment in that area with Tommy's now, with the Dairy Queen. Taco Bell just reinvested or put a new building over there. We got a lot of great investments over there. A little bit down the road, down Ford Road, and another big part of our Ford Road corridor at the corner of Ford and Carlson. Seeing some new construction going on over there, getting a lot of questions again on social media, getting pulled aside at the farmers market, things like that. What's going on at Ford and Carlson?
Yeah, so this is actually a great project that it's the perfect example of what the DDA does and what we try to do with those funds. So we picked up that property, the DDA picked up that property a handful of years ago. It was the former site of a Michigan Motors company. They purchased the property, they demoed the Michigan Motors building, and they've been holding on to it for all of these years for, to try to spur some type of good development and waiting for a development that we really thought, was worthwhile. When we own the property, we get to control what goes there. So we had the veterinary clinic that was located on the adjacent parcel come to us, and they were interested in expanding. And, they had expressed a need to attract some new local young talent for staff, and they had really outgrown their existing space. And so we sold the adjacent parcel to them. They have completely demolished their former practice, and they're rebuilding a brand new state-of-the-art modern facility. They're going to be able to serve more patients, employ more people, and take care of more animals, which is great. Additionally, it brought a non-conforming lot into conformity, which is another, really, really big goal of the DDA. Some of those parcels, when the district was created, they're long and skinny and narrow, which doesn't really work well for retail today. And so, this is a much more modern and much more in line with the best practices of real estate that we like to see, and it really just makes a big impact on the corridor. I'm very excited to see that project come to fruition.
We're very excited. I know the residents that are watching this video can see some of the renderings of it. The building looks fantastic, and it's creating some office space. You want to talk a little bit about the importance of having office space, new office space, I guess we'd say.
Yeah, so everyone gets excited about restaurants and shops, of course. That's very exciting for residents, but it is important to have daytime population to support that retail and those restaurant offerings. So the more jobs and employment and people that are coming here, even if they don't live here, if they're visiting here to the during the day for their jobs, they're spending money in the community, they're supporting the local economy, and they're a big part of the story.
They really are. So we've talked about 3 or 4 state-of-the-art investments in our community. Can you talk about the overall, the impact that these state-of-the-art investments have on our overall business community and how these improvements help our entire community?
Absolutely. These developments along the Ford Road corridor are revitalizing commercial spaces that may have been underutilized or vacant previously. And by repurposing these spaces and bringing in new businesses, the overall aesthetics and vibrancy of the area are improved, creating a more appealing environment for residents and visitors alike. They also have a positive ripple effect on the local economy. As more businesses open and thrive, they attract more customers and visitors to the area, stimulating other local businesses such as hotels, cafes, and entertainment venues. This leads to increased economic activity and further growth opportunities.
That's fantastic. So a huge part of our Ford Road corridor is the former location of the City Hall and the Bailey Recreation Center site. Can you update the citizens at home on what we're hoping to do with these and what we're hoping to do there and how these recent developments will help with those goals?
Absolutely. The former City Hall site is still being marketed for redevelopment opportunities. It's one of Westland's last, major pieces of vacant land that we have the potential for a project that is really exciting. And the emergence of all these new businesses and all these improvements that are taking place along the corridor is attracting investors and developers to be interested in that site. And so we want to make sure that we're holding out for the right project. It's like I said, it's kind of our last big piece of developable land that we control and that we have a lot of skin in the game there. And it's very exciting to see how all of this development along the corridor is raising the bar of the level of development that we can expect to see on that site.
Yeah, that's a great point. You mentioned just a few minutes ago when we talked about the former Michigan Motors Exchange. We held on that property for a long time, and we got a development that really fit and really is a state-of-the-art facility, and it's going to really spruce up that Ford Road corridor and kind of hopefully make some of the other businesses in the area step up their game, so to speak. So as a former chairman of the Downtown Development Authority, I know how crucial the DDA is in our overall success in our community. Can you explain how the DDA helps us make such a great place for businesses and residents?
Sure. All of these private investments follow strong public investment. And because of that, the DDA really does work to strategically invest and to anchor the area and to increase the vibrancy and the aesthetic of the community. We are currently investing over $3 million in updating and improving the H2O Zone splash pad, which is open now for the season, and the new ADA accessible Mission to Mars playscape, which is going to be opening soon. We've also encouraged property owners to invest in their properties and elevate the level of their aesthetic by awarding almost $40,000 in facade improvement grants to businesses just along the Ford Road corridor as a part of our expanded and improved facade improvement program. So, all of these pieces of the puzzle work together, and I think in the next few years, you're not even going to recognize the Ford Road corridor. It's going to look completely different than it did, in 2020.
That's very true, and I do appreciate the fact that the DDA upped their dollars for the facade improvement program. I know 3 or 4 different businesses took advantage of that last year. I think you expended the entire amount that was budgeted, so I appreciate that. So the DDA has a lot to look forward to. They always have a full calendar of summer events. Can you tell us about some of the great summer events we have to look forward to in Westland this summer?
Absolutely. So everyone's going to want to check out the Smooth Summer Night Concert Series at Central City Park. It'll take place the 13th, 20th, and 27th, and those are, with a jazz focus. Are you a jazz fan, Mayor?
I wasn't until I started coming out and watching Alexander Zonchek and friends. I mean, they packed Central City Park, and it is a tremendous viewing experience if you've never been there. So
Yes, we started this a couple years ago. It's only growing. It's only getting better. On the 20th, it's going to be a special Motown focused night, which I'm particularly excited about.
I love the Motown as well.
And then, of course, Westland's biggest event of the year, Blues, Brews, and Barbecue, August 4th and 5th. This is just a lot of work goes into it, and, it's very rewarding when we end up pulling it all off. But, it's not just music. We've got beers and great food, a 200 drone air show, and our fireworks display. I mean, it really is just such a great time. I've been going to that event for 10 years now, and I thoroughly enjoy it, and I know that the community really does as well. And then we wrap up our summer concert series this year with Hot Country Nights. On August 10th and 17th, you can swing by and listen to some honky-tonk music. So are you more of a country fan then?
I do love my country music. I absolutely love country music. Are you bringing Luke Combs or Morgan Wallen or anybody to our city? Or?
Well, we are working with the country radio station to bring in a big act this year. We actually haven't finalized it yet, so you'll have to stay tuned for details, but I'll see what I can do.
Great. So looking forward to that. And I just want to take an opportunity to thank you, Aubrey. Your entire economic development team does a great job. We meet often, and we talk about all these great things that are going on in our community. So you've heard about some of these great accomplishments at home. There's many more good things to come for Westland, Westland's most visible corridor, and I hope this update makes you as excited as I am for a great summer. So come on out to Westland this summer, and let's have a great time.
Thanks, Mayor.
No problem. Thank you for coming on.